Hello, welcome to the Platonic Studies channel. This is another video in an ongoing series on Plato's Euthyphro. So, let's begin.
Alright, continuing on, we will be reading this half of the passage. So I'll go ahead and read this in Greek. Orthos gar esti ton neon proton epimeliathienai, hopos esontai hoti aristoi osper georgon agathon ton neon phyton ekos proton epimeliathienai, meta de touto kai ton alon kai diakai melietos isos proton men hiemas ekathaire tus ton neon tas plastas diaphterontas os fiesen. Epita meta tuto dialon hoti ton presbyteron epimeliathes pleston kai megiston agathon aitios tia poli geniasetai. Os to ekos symbienai ektoi afties archies arxameno. For it is correct to first see to it that the young be the best they can be, just as a good farmer is likely to first attend to the young plants, and after this also the others. Furthermore, Meletos perhaps first is clearing out us who corrupt the sprouts of the young, as he says. Then after this, it is clear that attending to the older ones, he shall be a source of great and much benefit to the city, as is likely to come about for one who sets out from such a beginning. So Socrates begins this half of the paragraph sympathizing with Meletos, trying to get into his mind and figure out what he thinks he's doing. So he says straight up, orthos gar esti, it is correct, or it is proper. Orthos as in orthogonal or anything straight, orthopedics. So he says, for it is proper to have a care, epimeliathienai, to have a care, or to attend to. This is a deponent verb. So a deponent verb means that it will have a passive or a middle form in the future or the aorist. So this is already a passive verb, epimelomai. So it becomes a deponent when it's in the aorist by switching to the passive. And we can see that it's passive because it has a th, a theta right here. So Socrates says, for it is correct to have a care of the young, genitive, plural. Oftentimes epimeliathienai will have hopos. Hopos in this sense is like see to it or in order to. So I guess you could say, and he will attend in order to. And so it implies that there's going to be further information. Esontai hoti aristoi. That means that in order that they shall be, hoti aristoi is an idiom that makes it a superlative. So in this case, the best possible or the very best. Next, osper georgon agathon. Just as the good farmer, ekos is likely. This is basically unconjugated. It just means he's likely. So, and then the next part, proton, means it's actually an accusative of protos, which is the adjective. In this case, proton means firstly. It's an adverb. It looks like it's a noun, but when it has the neuter, it becomes an adverb. So just as a good farmer is likely firstly to have a care of the young plants. Phyton is plants in this case, genitive plural, and ton neon is the plural genitive as well. So describing plants, the new plants or the young plants. And the next part, meta de tuto. This means after this, literally, but meta means after when it's conjoined with an accusative. If it's conjoined with the genitive, it means with. But in this case, since it's an accusative for tuto, it means after this. And of course, we have the particle here, de, connecting particle, just to make sure that we have the train of thought still going. Also of the other ones. So it's basically saying in a condensed form, just as a good farmer will first have a care for the young plants, then he'll have a care for these other ones. So that's just him saying, after this, also the other ones. Next, kai de kai. This means moreover or furthermore. Meliatos. Nominative singular, of course. Isos, perhaps. Firstly. Once again, it's the adjective in the accusative, but it becomes an adverb. So firstly. Us. Ekathaire means meliatos will clear us out of the way, as though Socrates and Euthyphro, or whoever corrupts the youth, would be cleared out like weeds in a garden. Then the next part is tous diaphterontos. This is basically modifying the hiamos right here. It's further description. We who corrupt. And who do they corrupt? They corrupt the shoots or the sprouts of the young. So he's continuing his simile of the good farmer with the sprouts of the young plants. So he says, and furthermore, Melitus perhaps firstly casts us out or clears us out, we who are the ones who corrupt the sprouts of the young. And then he adds this at the end of it, as he says, almost being sarcastic or saying he calls us this, but he calls us the ones who corrupt the sprouts of the young, but not necessarily. So Socrates is being sarcastic a little bit here. Then he says epeta, which means then, and then we have a similar construction here as we did up here. So he says, then after this, dialon hoti. This is a common idiom. It means it is clearly, or clear it is that. The it is would be estin, but that's not in there. So it really can just be taken as an adverb, clearly. So then after this, clearly having a care of the older ones, meaning the older children in the city or people, he shall be a cause of great and much good for the city. So there's a lot there. So we'll start with just this. Then after this, it is clear. So we got that. Having a care, epimeliathes. This is the same as this up here, but this is the participle form. So this was infinitive. This is a participle. Once again, it's a passive participle. So those usually take the ace at the end. So having a care of the older ones, he shall be. So they've got the verb way at the end of the sentence here. A cause or a source, and then of all this. He shall be a cause of great, right here, great, and much good. So this is the good. For the city, and that's dative for the city, dative of direction or respect, so for the city or in regards to the city. So he shall be a source of great and much good for the city. The next part, as the natural outcome. to ekos symbianai. This is an articular infinitive, and once again, like the ekos I said was back here, is basically unconjugated. So it's the likely outcome. So as is the likely outcome for one starting from such a beginning.